I want to thank Jeremy and the RESO board. As he indicated from my teal name tag, Ad Writer is a first-time attendee here at RESO, so it's been a great conference thus far. I was asked to kind of take a quick snapshot of our business, not really an advertorial of Ad Writer, but to look at what keeps me awake at night, what makes me lose hair, and how the RESO data dictionary is going to fit into our business. Just a little bit, I'm expecting at least a couple of hands to go up in the room right away. And no, I am not related to Alfred Hitchcock. However, so our social media contact, we'd like to have more friends on Facebook. Ad Writer's been around for a long time, but we are rebuilding our company and rebuilding our social media presence. My Twitter handle of Dr. Hitch gets me a lot of open table dinner reservations. Just a little bit of background here. I worked for Xerox for 15 years. In Xerox, the document company, the paperless office is definitely not dead. Xerox can make about half of its revenue on just paper and toner, just generating print. So the paperless office has got a long way to go before it dies. Ad Writer was really founded as part of a regional media company that owns 13 newspapers mostly in the Ohio area. Believe it or not, when you put, Ad Writer came out of the belief that when you put advertisements into print media, you can put a car ad into a newspaper and it will, even if that particular car is sold, there's another car on the lot. You can put an obituary into the news media, it's not going anywhere. It's gonna be there for the print publication. Real estate is the one problem in the world of print media that real estate listings move so fast and so dynamically that the publishers of the newspaper and the founders of Douthit Communications decided to develop this software to allow real estate brokerages to swap listings in and out of the news media at like T-minus 2 minutes before press time. So my company really has been founded in the world of print media, but we're making some shifts to that. But it's real estate advertising in print media is an incredibly fast-moving, dynamic thing. Also, right now in the world of print media, a lot of people here might say, you know, I don't need to advertise in print at all. A lot of it has to do with your branding of your agents, your brokerage name. It's not about the listings themselves. But print media is still alive and well and here to stay in the real estate advertising world. So I was asked to do a couple of things. I just want to share a little bit about the current state of my company and kind of what keeps me awake at night, and also what's going to happen to us as the RESO data dictionary and the payloads get rolled out through MLSs around the country, what's going to happen to me. It's a question of whether the tip of the spear is the agent up front, or whether the tip of the spear is me, the advertiser, at the end of the tail. The RESO data dictionary and what's going on here has a big impact on my industry. Ad Writer, we've been around for about 40 years. We cater to both small brokerages and large nationwide brokerages. We're really, right now, today, we are the only source of all the data that's required for real estate advertising. And I'll get into that in a little bit. So I call it the MLS database on steroids. It's supercharged. As an example, up until some things I've heard here today, most MLS systems do not host the high resolution photographs that are needed for advertising. The MLS systems do not include a full database on the agent. So the agent headshot, the agent Twitter handle, contact information, the stuff you need for advertising has typically not been hosted in the MLS systems. Therefore, that function came to Ad Writer. Back in the good old days, and I'll delve into this in a couple of minutes, the features that were coming in from the MLS were very primitive, basic features. Just 2,500 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house. Nothing about the interior features of the house, or very limited. So we developed a checklist of features that the MLS systems did not have in place. That too is changing. One of the things that Ad Writer does is once you have the data in-house, we actually computer generate the listing description. and that's where I really want to talk to here in a minute. Something else that AdWriter does on behalf of the brokerages, if you have a pool of 1,000 listings and you can only put 30 of them into a newspaper or a booklet or a luxury magazine, how do you down select and schedule just the listings you want? Is it just John's listings? Is it just the $1 million listings? So this is a tool that the brokerages use to help them down select the listings that they want to put into the publication. And then also, we have a team of experts that do the actual page composition for the newspaper or the brokerage. A lot of times when a listing goes to a newspaper, the way you have to do the color correction is different than if you're printing to a magazine. So sure, there are parts of the country that say we don't print anything. Right now the market there's very little inventory nationwide, so some brokerages say I don't need to advertise. Listings are moving too fast. If the federal interest rates go up a couple of points, I bet there's going to be a lot more inventory on the market. But so that's kind of what AdWriter's been doing. This is kind of my John Madden football chart of what we do. So the agent takes his or her seller data, and there's a lot of inaccuracies. You've heard here today about a lot of inaccuracies in the seller providing the data to the brokerage on the size of the house, the school district that it's in. But we take the seller data, goes to the brokerage, that gets uploaded to an MLS system. AdWriter today then syndicates and takes feeds from approximately 40 or 60 different MLS systems today. The brokerages also are separately feeding us their office data, their agent data, and also the high resolution photographs are being uploaded to AdWriter because, again, today that information is not in a lot of the MLS systems. Once it hits my front door, what do we do with it? I have to map the MLS import, all the data fields against my AdWriter data fields. An equine property may be a horse farm. A horse farm may be a gentleman's retreat. So I have to map all those data fields from all the MLSs into a consistent AdWriter language. And again, I'm getting towards, how important is the RESO standard going to be for me? I also have to establish secure user logins for all of my customers. A corporate owner of a brokerage gets a different level of permission than an agent does, again, when it comes to scheduling advertising. And then we also have to set up all the publications. Every single issue of every single newspaper, magazine, booklet, all has to be set up. So we automatically create the listing description specific to the ad space. I output a file of that information, which goes off to actually flow into a page composition for advertising. And then we've got a whole bunch of auditing and tracking reports. So that's kind of an advertorial, a little bit about AdWriter for the last 40 years. What I'm thinking about as far as the RESO data dictionary goes that's really going to be good is it levels the playing field. I actually have a staff member who actually is assigned to manually map MLS. Let's pick the North Carolina MLS. Their data fields to AdWriter need to be mapped differently than the Colorado MLS. And if an MLS changes their data format, my import fails or the mapping of the fields fail, and it creates havoc 5 minutes before press time, so it's a problem. New features, they're moving fast. Different parts of the country have a need for more green features, geothermal, solar, than other parts of the country. So feature sets are being added by different MLSs across the country, and that impacts advertising. And agents are always trying to find ways to differentiate their listings. The language gets really stale as well. So we've got a very rich database. We predominantly do print output, but I'm also driving the company into being able to do social media advertising. So our database is really simple. I mean, you basically we import all the MLS data. At the last minute, a price can be changed in AdWriter. Additional features are put into AdWriter manually. We have separate databases inside of AdWriter for the high resolution photographs. So like you heard somebody earlier today talk about a bridge where unlimited number of high-resolution pictures per listing can be put in. So that's a change for us. But right now, today, the customers are putting all of their high-resolution pictures for the advertisements directly into AdWriter. We also have a comprehensive agent database. So again, if you think about an advertisement, you want that agent's headshot picture there. You want his or her phone number, his or her email account. You want that as part of the advertisement. We have a database that comprehends that. So the other thing that's a focus for RESO that I'm very interested in is our natural language engine. So once you have all these features and feature codes into our system, we actually generate the listing description for the agent. And I'll show you some examples of that. Agents don't like to write. Agents aren't paid to write. You heard a vendor yesterday about shooting videos. Great idea. I think it's very noble. Some agents are not smart enough. Some agents are capable of shooting video. Some agents are capable writers. A lot of times agents get into writer's block. They just write the same thing over and over again, whereas our system will dynamically generate that listing description automatically. I'm also hearing from some larger aggregators, I'm not calling out Zillow, but some people at NAR have said what they're receiving as listing descriptions is just awful. People just don't know how to write. So again, the RESO data dictionary is going to give me enough robust language or enough feature codes that our system can generate a better description. Also, one of the things that we did many years ago is we actually, for each listing, we developed what are called tribes, social classes, for lack of a better word, that were language that would appeal to a certain customer demographic. If you're a baby boomer versus an empty nester, there are words that are used in the listing description that appeal to just that market demographic. So, and again, this is a little bit, one of the things that we did a long time ago was the MLS forms many years ago were very primitive, hardly any features. So we actually had developed, 15 years ago, a Palm Pilot application that let the broker or the agent actually enter in all the features of a house. Does it have a Viking stove? Does it have quartz countertops? Into a Palm Pilot. So I thought that was kind of amusing. What we're doing now is we basically have a PDF form that our customers use to enter additional feature codes that are not in the MLS. Again, the RESO data dictionary is going to have a big impact on this. So what we do, after all that's into our system, we actually generate ad copy out of all those feature codes. We will generate the natural language heuristics, the English language. We also generate the same advertisement in Spanish, and it's character count constrained. So if you think about print advertising, you want to maximize the space. It's not like a web page that could just run on forever. You need to maximize the content of your advertising by character count to fill out the white space on the page. If that makes sense? It's important to keep that character count constrained. So, as an example, I could advertise this as a luxury waterfront property. It's not. I could start to write English to say, I'm just laughing my butt off at this bad property, but I'm adding rich data to this. I'm adding silly data like, this is a street that's in a demographic that has lots of noise and buses, and there's lots of shootings going by. That's not the kind of data that you want to drive in an advertisement. What you really want to do is to use real RESO data dictionary data, such as a geocode of the listing. I need an API where I can take my listing address and add in a geocode that tells me that that house is on the shore of Lake Michigan. I want to be able to add room-by-room details. The RESO data dictionary has enumerated, I think, several hundred room-specific features that the agent can enter that will add value to my listing descriptions. And also put things in modern language. Right now, my data dictionary that I'm using is a little bit antiquated. So where are we headed with this? Again, what I'm doing right now, what we're doing at AdWriter is once I have the RESO data dictionary and get all the feeds from MLS, I can create advertisements that are richer data in both online media as well as print media. So, for example, a Facebook ad, for you to assemble a Facebook ad today, you need to get the agent headshot from one database, cut and paste. You need the listing picture or pictures from another database. You need the MLS raw data, the MLS number from a third database. All of this now gets glued together in AdWriter. One of the things that I talked to at one of the conferences recently was a couple of companies that are making custom lawn signs. Same thing. It's a publication output of a property that is really a meritage or a cut and paste from a bunch of different sources. So people are starting to get into these custom lawn signs that are on foam core and just disposable, but the labor that it takes to cut and paste information from different sources can all be eliminated because it's all now in one data warehouse. So from my perspective, one of the reasons that we're here as a new member of RESO is looking at the data dictionary work group. I'm very interested in being able to ingest into AdWriter all the room-by-room feature descriptions. One of the things that we're looking at doing is using that as a voiceover script for video slideshows for one of my customers. There's a lot of additional details that are things that customers are looking for energy conservation. These can be data dictionary terms and checkboxes, but I can also flow that into the narrative listing description, which people like to read that the house has geothermal or solar or some energy conservation feature. And also we need to, one of the things I'm working on is we need to update the lingo that's in our current language. I told somebody over lunch, I said, if you have a checkbox that says a heated garage, the language turns into something about keeping your motor warm. So we're working on that as well. The other group that we're interested in, today we're using mostly legacy RETS feeds, IDX transmissions, and we've got customers, even though we're doing print media output, which is once a day, I've got customers who want more frequent feed, so we're looking at the payload group as well. So next steps for us, we're an old company. We've been around a long time. I'm fairly new to the industry. We're now a member of RESO, so we're excited about that. We're looking at getting engaged with some of the subcommittees tomorrow on the work groups or lurking on their go-to meetings that they have monthly. We're even looking at a board opportunity. I'll be working with my internal IT group to understand how do we embrace an MLS that feeds us a RESO compliant feed. If an MLS sends me RESO compliant data today, I don't know what to do with it as an advertising software company. I can't ingest full RESO data dictionary files. We don't know what to do with it. So as I said, the data falls on the floor. Anyways, that's a real quick snapshot of AdWriter. We've been around for 40 years. We're still keeping the last 10 or 15% of the real estate market in print advertising alive and well. Print advertising is not going away. Right now it's because of shortage of inventory and the speed of listings moving off market. It's not as much of a need, but print advertising will still be there. And I'm looking forward to a working relationship with RESO. Any questions? I can make a quick joke about it to say that AdWriter's current natural language algorithm is written in Fortran on punch cards. No, it's not quite that bad. The founder of the company really was way ahead of the curve of thinking about natural language processing and hired linguistics and looking at these different caste or classes of language that people might want. That engine is a C-based engine. It's a compiled C-based engine. I am looking at other new natural language algorithms that are out there today. As a matter of fact, IBM just filed a patent application on a database to natural language engine that, or model. I don't know if it'll be patented, but it's very interesting. But yeah, it's. Yeah, this is a sample, and we can show you, just go to AdWriter. This is just literally a sample of the same MLS feed spilled out 5 different ways. Spilled out in short character count, long character count, and if, as a user of AdWriter, if you don't like what this says, you just click write, and it will rewrite the words given a character count constraint, because that's important for publishing. It'll just keep rewriting it, and then if the agent really doesn't like what the system says, you just hand edit it, and it goes from there. Anything else? Thank you.